Okay, hello everyone. My name is Berns Galang or Berns Berry. That's my illustrator name. And I am so happy to welcome you to our show. And if you love animals and if you have a strong passion to stand up for them, especially for those who need help more than ever, then this show is for you. Because today we are going to be talking about animal rescues, giving them a voice, and providing a better life for them. And I'm honored to bring you our guest. Her name is Malou Perez. She is the founder of Pawssion Project Foundation Incorporated. And it's a nonprofit organization based in the Philippines. And they are really very much dedicated to the rescue, rehabilitation, and rehoming of dogs and cats in distress. Okay. Hi, Malou. I'm so glad to have you here in our show.
Hello, hi Berns. Thank you for having me.
Happy to have you here. Would you like to tell us more about yourself?
For those who are actually new to hearing about Pawssion Project, I'm actually a Bacolod based um, marketing graduate. I'm a financial advisor by profession, and I really grew up as a dog lover. I'm that person who would wake up so early in the morning every time I'd go for a vacation by the beach and enjoy the sunrise with the beach dogs. I think I cannot remember if there was any time that I went to the beach without having to play and pet with all of the new dogs that I meet. That person would feel sorry every time I'd see strays scavenging food in the garbage. But even as a dog lover, I wasn't really that aware of how awful the reality of strays is in the Philippines. Not until I saw the Facebook post about the dogs on death row at the Bacolod City Pound. So that's basically how I started Pawssion Project. It was all because of a single Facebook post about 50 dogs scheduled to be killed, not even by euthanasia, but by gunshot. So when I saw the post, just like any other dog lover, regular dog lover, I shared the post on my Facebook page, but I did not really do so much about it because, at the end of the day, 50 dogs is still 50 dogs. I just shared it. And then our family friend, Manang Jen, who owns the farm where the first shelter was built, who I was supposed to be Airbnb partners with, also saw the post, and then she called me, and then she said like, Mouse, did you see the post about the dogs on death row? Since we do not have any concrete plans yet, are you willing to save them? I don't know. Without any second thoughts, without any experience on how to run a shelter, without having concrete plans, like I didn't really know what to do with them. I said yes. I don't know what was running through my mind, if I was crazy or whatever, but I said yes because, of course, how can you not do anything about it? So, to cut the long story short, uh, the lives of those dogs, their days were actually already numbered, because we have an existing Animal Welfare Act, and apart from that, we also have the Anti-Rabies Act. So all of the impounding of dogs in the country is actually based on the Anti-Rabies Act, which is sad because rabies is not inborn. Um,
Yeah.
so, because of the national order, and again, it's as per the law, if the dogs in the pounds are not adopted or rescued within 3 days' time, the most 2 weeks' time, they're going to be killed. Because again, the Philippines right now has around 13 million stray animals. So, how can we expect these pounds to, let them stay there forever? That's impossible because
Right.
people will continue to call them and contact them and request for the impounding of animals, mainly because they do not really understand what's going on. I mean, they're not aware that there are 30 million strays. They're not aware that rabies is not inborn. They're not aware that impounding animals will not solve the problem. So I went to the pound that was 3 days before they're supposed to be um, uh, due date.
Mhm.
I went there, and 3 years later, I still feel like it's the most traumatic experience of my life. Like I was standing standing next to the hole where they were supposed to be buried. Like every time I close my eyes now, I can still hear the cries of the dogs. I remember the look on their faces, like their eyes begging for help. It was just awful. And imagine it was my first time to set foot in the pound, and I'd be welcomed with that reality. And I remember trying to distract myself because I wanted to break down. You know, some of the dogs were really crying because of course they feel like they're gonna be killed already. Especially because the ones who would pull them out from the cages are also the same people who caught them from the streets. So what would you expect? I mean, these people are not gentle with with the handling of the animals. So I can clearly remember there was one dog who almost died because he strangled on the thing that they were using. So it's always, almost all of the pounds here are using just makeshift tools. So they're not really safe for the dogs. So I remember that dog almost died. If I didn't shout, the people at the pound to stop trying to force the dogs, that dog would have died. So it was so traumatic. It was really so traumatic. And that really opened my eyes to the awful reality of strays here. Not just strays, but even pets who are unwanted, pets who are no longer cared for and wanted by their owners. And then I thought to myself after I did the first rescue operation, yes, we may have saved these dogs, but what happens to the others? I mean, like, what happens to all of the other dogs and other pounds in the country?
Right.
So, yeah, so it was just so hard to stop. It was so hard to make everything just temporary. So even it was so hard, it was so difficult. I mean, running a shelter is no joke. You'd have to think of the welfare of the animals. You'd have to manage your emotions every day. You'd have to learn how to control and say no to every rescue request to make sure you're able to give quality life to your rescues. And again, rescuing is not the answer and it will never end. So it was so hard to manage everything. Like you have to make sure that, the rescues are able to eat twice a day. You're able to give their, medical needs. You'd have to separate the male and the female first while you're still raising funds to
Right.
have them
Of
spayed and
course.
neutered. The shelter was actually not in the city where I was living, so it was an hour drive away from where I live. So I drive every day to the shelter to bring supplies, and then if there's a dog that needs to be seen by a vet, we'd have to drive back to the city and bring the dog to the vet. So it was really, it was a roller coaster ride. Um, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Having to be very, very involved and hands on with the operations, like from rescuing to rehabilitation to the rehoming of the dogs to spreading awareness and handling the social media myself. It really taught me a lot of things, and it really grounded me, and it made me realize just how much we can do actually. Like no, even if we're just one person, but if we
Right.
really try to put our heart and soul and our mind to what we do, then we can really do make a change. So yeah, by God's grace, Pawssion Project is already 3 years old right now. We have already
Wonderful.
established
Right.
2 shelters. We've already rescued over 1,000 dogs and cats. We've rehomed almost 1,000. We've spayed and neutered over 1,000 as well in 3 years' time. And we continuously strive to, inspire as many people as possible because the problem is just overwhelming. And we do not really get any support from the government. We do not get any corporate funding. Um, and clearly, the Animal Welfare Act in the Philippines really needs a lot of work.
Uh-huh. All right. That's actually a very traumatic experience, but I admire how you transformed that experience into something really empowering. And you've mentioned it's since you were young, you're really a dog lover. So I guess it's really in you. It's something natural in you. And would you say that this is something that you think is your calling or a vision that has put you here right now?
Definitely, definitely. I've always dreamt of putting up my own dog shelter, but it wasn't something that I thought will happen. I mean, it's one of those dreams that you just have in your head. But I was never really expecting it to, come to life. And that's why I've always felt like this is really my purpose in life and my calling. And again, without any experience, safe to say we've done such a good job in the past 3 years, with having to inspire and educate more people. We're still a long, long way to go, from our goals. But, for me, every effort matters. Like one dog, one cat is still one life. One rehomed animal, one rescued animal is still one life. So nothing should be discounted. So yeah, I've always felt like this is my calling, and I always tell people that this is not me. It has always been God, and He's just been using me. Because if it was just for my own capacity, I would have given up long time ago. I mean, the emotions alone are just so hard to manage, and also the mental exhaustion with having to receive a lot of rescue requests, having to see photos and videos of animals in need, and you feel so helpless because you cannot help them all. That alone is too much to process. So I've always wanted to give back all the glory to God and honor Him, because I know it's all Him, and He's just using me, and I'm just here as an instrument here. So yeah, I really believe that this has been my calling and my purpose in life.
Right. And it's interesting how it started. It really just started from a Facebook post, and then it led to something and another and another and another, and now you're here. And Pawssion Project is now 3 years.
That's
So
right.
yeah, so everything just really unfolds the way it should. You just need to make a decision like you did. And
That
yeah, you've mentioned earlier about being aware of the such issues and things that are happening around. How vital is it to promote awareness about helping and rescuing animals in distress?
very, very vital. Like I always say, Pawssion Project started because of a single Facebook post. Pawssion Project started because someone posted about the needs of the dogs in the pound. So if that person did not post about those dogs, then we wouldn't have Pawssion Project in the first place. So it's very important to educate, and advocate and get the word out, because we cannot do it on our own. I mean, we're already short in manpower. The problem is just so overwhelming, especially because animal welfare is, the least priority of so many people in the government as well. um, you know Posting, getting the word out, advocating and educating people can go a long way, especially if we reach the right people, especially if we're able to inspire. I mean, imagine, like, people always tell me that, when they realize that Potion Project is just a small organization, and I am very hands on with everything. So I'm the only one managing Instagram. Now I'm glad that we already have a few volunteers helping out with Facebook. But I'm the only rescuer in Bacolod. Even here in Manila, we have another one, but she's currently on leave because of some family problems. So I'm also the only rescuer here in Manila now. Um, I'm very hands on with the shelter operations, even with the managing of the finances, having to meet suppliers and partners. I'm very much involved with everything. I do stray feeding every night. I'm the one who picks up the dog or the cat in need and brings the dog to the vet and then contacts the vet. So, it helps a lot when we're able to inspire more people. Because imagine if there were at least just 100 more of me, then we'd definitely be able to help more. So,
Definitely.
educating people and inspiring more people can really go a long way, especially if you're able to, just ignite that sense of purpose and passion in them, just like what happened to me. I think it's very important.
Wow. Sounds like you're a really very busy person, and really sounds like you're a superhero actually for our canine and feline friends. And based from your experiences, what advice can you give to our audience on how to improve our relationship with animals?
Well, I think first things first, you all have to understand that these animals are sentient beings as well. So
Mhm.
they basically feel as well. I mean, like if we get hurt, they get hurt too. If we feel cold and warm, if we feel hot and warm during the summer season, or when it's hot, then they feel that way too. If you feel cold when it's raining or when it's cold, they feel the same way too. When we're in pain, then they're also in pain when they get hurt, or when when they're in need of medical assistance. But the only problem is they can never speak up for themselves. So first things first, everyone should understand that these animals are living beings as well. They're not toys, they're not non-living things. These are creatures who have lives as well. So I think if we already are able to internalize that thought, then our actions will change as well. And I think it's very important for everyone to just choose kindness again and again, every day. Um, we live in a world that is actually not ours. We're all
Right.
just correct. We're all just borders here in the world, and this is not ours. We share it with other living beings as well. So we do not have any right, to impose that the roads are just for us. That we should not think about all the other strays and other homeless animals who might be hit by the car that we're driving or the motorbike that you're driving. um there are also a lot of homeless animals who, if only had been given a choice to have themselves spayed and neutered, would probably not have any unwanted litters anymore. Who only had the choice to work, then they probably would have money to buy food for themselves and rent a home for them to stay in. So I think it's very important that people internalize that thought. These animals have no one to turn to but us humans, because we were given a thinking brain. We were given the capacity to work, to speak up for ourselves. Even just that is already a major realization for me. Like, I haven't really thought so much about that, not until I started Pawssion Project. Every time I think of that, imagine when we're sick. Imagine when we're sick and we already feel so helpless, even if we
Right.
are able to speak up, and even if
Yes.
we're able to express how we already feel helpless at times. All the more these animals who can never really tell anyone that they're not feeling well. They don't understand what they're going through. So even just that realization for me would really matter, if we're able to inspire more people and make them really understand that thought. And my major advice to everyone, really, and my major this is really a call for help and my plea.
Mhm.
I really encourage everyone to um be involved. Nothing quite like understanding this problem than being involved. Go visit the local shelter, go see your local pound. I'm very happy and overwhelmed right now that there are a number of people contacting Pawssion that they wanna adopt, but they're far from the shelter. You don't have to go too far. There's so many pounds and shelters everywhere. And even just having to go out from
Right.
your homes, you already see a lot of strays. The dogs and the cats that are here at the shelter, many of them are also just strays before. Many of them were rescued from the pound. So you don't have to go too far. Just go outside, feed a stray, gain their trust, and then bring them home. Like I always say, one dog, one cat is still one life. If there were 100,000 people who would feed a stray and take them home, 100,000 dogs and cats can be rehomed in one day. So it's as simple as that. We all have to put our compassion into action and not just feel sorry for them, because posting about them and saying to everyone that you feel so sorry for them, that you feel bad for them, will not do anything,
Right.
to change the lives
Exactly.
of these animals. We have to do something about it. Like I always say with Pawssion, rescue. If you can rescue yourself, please do rescue, because we cannot be everywhere and we cannot rescue all. And if you can adopt, please adopt. There's just so many homeless animals. There's so many rescued animals who are in need of a home already. So please do not buy anymore. The money that you will use to buy a dog or a cat can still help so many lives that are on death row, especially in pounds. And if you can foster, please do foster, because shelters really need a lot of fosterers. There are a lot of rescues who need um, special care. And with the number and the overwhelming number of animals in the shelters, it's just so hard to give quality care to, dogs and cats with special needs. So fosters are really very vital for shelters like us. And fosters can actually really help us find the perfect match for the animal, especially because you're able to spend quality time with that rescue. So you get to know that rescue, you know their needs, you are able to explain to the future adopter um, just about the personality of the animal that you're fostering. And volunteer. Our shelters are open every day for people who would like to get involved and help us out. Pawssion Project solely relies on donations, but of course, we also have our caretakers, which are all on payroll. So that's what people should understand. Even if we do not take in a new rescue, the expenses are still, crazy, because we already have a lot under our care. And rescuing an animal is not just about picking them up from the street or the pound. Once they get to the shelter, the real work begins. You'd have to rehabilitate them, you'd have to make sure they're healthy before you have them vaccinated, spayed and neutered. You'd have to socialize to others, you'd have to work through the emotional trauma and all of the stress that these animals have been through. So whether or not we take in a new rescue, our expenses are crazy. So we really need a lot of volunteers to help us out with the work that we do. If you cannot volunteer physically, there's so many ways to volunteer remotely as well. You can help us out with pub mats, with educational videos and photos. You can help us out, just really get the word out, share the posts of the page, not just of Pawssion Project. There's so many shelters in need of help as well. um, we need people who can help us do fundraisers to sustain the needs of the rescues. We need volunteer vets. We need a lot of volunteers. We need more manpower, because again, we're dealing with 13 million stray animals in the country, and many more unwanted pets. And if you cannot volunteer and you have the resources, please donate. Because again, what limits us with having to do more is our limited resources and the lack of funds. Like I always say, if I had more money, I'd turn the shelter into a hotel or a resort for the animals, because that's what they deserve. But of course, we have to make sure that we also have enough funds to help those who are not under our care. So we have to help the strays as well. We have to have emergency fund, just so if there's an emergency, if there's a rescue who needs special care, then we have funds for it. So donations really help a lot, and that's what really helps us survive. And if you cannot donate, then anyone can advocate. It costs 0 pesos to share a post. It costs 0 pesos to talk to your friend, to your family member, to your neighbor, and educate them that it's not okay to cage a dog. It's not okay to just leash them. You have to give quality care. You have to make them understand that taking in a pet is a lifetime commitment and responsibility. It's basically welcoming a family member into your life. So you don't just cage them. You don't neglect their needs, or you don't give them away when things are no longer convenient, or you don't neglect them when they grow older. Um, so I think it's very important. It's very important that people are aware of these realities of the animals. People should be aware that we really have, the power to change lives, and that there's always something that we can do. Even if you're not a dog lover, there's still something that you can do. Like if you are creative, or if you have the talent to help us out with so many things, then go for it.
Right. Yeah, we all can do something. And that was actually my next question. And you went ahead and answered everything. And that's a lot of things that we can do. Um, this next question is more on pet owners. What do you think is the way that pet parents can be the key to their furry companion's happiness?
Well, like I always say, pet parents should always understand again that they're a parent.
Right.
They're not just an owner, they're a parent. And when you're a parent, you do everything for your child. You give them the best of everything. So, and again, I would like to remind everyone, these animals don't even want all the fancy things in life. They need your attention, they need your love, they need your time. So, I think it's very important that pet parents understand that. Even if you buy them the signature collar or signature
Mhm.
leash or the most expensive dog food, but if you don't have time for them, or if you buy an expensive dog, but you just put them inside a cage, they will not be happy about it. Even if it's an air conditioned cage, dogs are supposed to be running around. Dogs are supposed to be able to express their normal behavior. So I think, pet parents should understand that, that, our animals do not want anything else but our time and our love for them. So, people just have to understand that the only way to make them happy is to give them the love that they need and provide them their basic needs. Being a responsible pet owner entails cost as well. You cannot just get a dog and just feed them. It doesn't end there. You have to make sure that their vaccinations are updated so they don't get sick. You have to make sure that they're spayed and neutered if you can no longer accommodate more dogs. Again, lesser number of dogs at your household mean more quality care and quality life. But of course, if you have a bigger space and if you have more funds and resources, then please do, give homes to more animals in need. Do not, have them spayed and neutered really, so they no longer have more litters, so that you have more space and resources to take in the unwanted and those who don't have homes. I hear a lot of people not wanting to have their pets spayed and neutered because they want more pets. Have them spayed and neutered and adopt more. There's still so many out there who are in need of homes. So I think that's very important. People should understand that we are not just pet owners, we are pet parents. And pets are family. So, family
Right.
never gets left behind. When if your schedule or if your lifestyle um if you think that your lifestyle is not yet ready for a new pet, then don't force it. Our pets get depressed as well if we're away for a long time. If you don't have anyone else in the house who can, shower your pet with the same love that you can give them, then postpone getting a pet. Visit shelters instead and help out shelters if you can, if you only just have something temporary for now. And do not get puppies just because they're cute. Never ever give pets as gifts, because the receiver should understand that it's a lifetime commitment and responsibility. So yeah, before giving a dog or a cat, you have to talk to the person first and make sure that they're able to commit to at least a 15-20 year relationship and commitment to the pet that you're giving them. So yeah, if there's any reminder that I can give to everyone, our pets do not want anything fancy. They just need your time and your love, and they just need to be healthy, to be happy.
Yeah, I guess it just really boils down to the connection that we have with them. And really, when that's there, I mean, it's really something very special. And if you really allow that, pets can really touch us in ways that no other humans can, only a dog or a cat can. And as a founder of a rescue center, how do you feel when you take in rescue dogs and cats into your shelters?
It's overwhelming. It's scary. It's a roller coaster of emotions. Of course, we feel happy that we're able to help another animal in need, but of course, we get scared as well because what if this animal dies under our care? Because there are really rescues who die just after they have been rescued. It's like they just wait for them to be rescued before they cross the bridge. So it's always scary, overwhelming, and it's a happy feeling every time we take in new rescues. But again, like I always say, rescuing is not as easy as picking up a dog or a cat from the street or from the pound. We have to make sure that they have been tested and they're free from a communicable disease, to make sure that the other rescues under our care, that their lives are not going to be compromised. compared to, compared to when you just have one pet in the house. So you only just have to think of that pet and the new dog or cat that you're going to be taking in. Compared to us shelters, we have to think of everyone else, because not everyone in the shelter are, you know, are vaccinated right away, because there are other rescues who still need rehabilitation. They're not yet healthy. Upon rescue, so we need to work on their health first before we can get them vaccinated. So, it's always a roller coaster ride every time we take a new rescue. I'm always happy for the opportunity given to us to help, but it's always coupled with fear with having to mess up, fear with having to lose the rescue, fear with having to infect another rescue just in case we miss out on anything. So it's really hard, it's overwhelming, and again, like I always say, all of the rescues under our care are like our children, and we're very much involved and hands-on with everything. So imagine having to take in one new dog who haven't really gotten to know yet, and then it infects a rescue that you've cared for a year, 2 years, 3 years already, and that rescue dies. So it's really hard to manage everything. And as much as you want to save all, it's just impossible because there's just too many of them.
Wow, that's huge. It's really an emotional roller coaster ride, and you really need to have a strong heart for that and that mental fortitude in order to be able to handle everything. And it's really massive. And I see that you really have a good heart, and it's really the love that you have for them. I guess that's really keeps you moving forward and staying strong for them. And
Right?
yeah,
It's
um,
anything but free. I always tell everyone that I always just remember that if this really is for me, then I always just say, God, you take over. I do my best. I do my best. Just do the rest.
beautiful. It actually really works that way. You just need to make a decision and just follow through, and just everything just unfolds and being taken care of one by one, step by step. And that's a wonderful story. And we're almost out of time, but do you have any final thoughts, or is there anything that you would like to leave our audience that you think is important as well?
um, like I always close every interview or every opportunity to speak. I always would like to remind everyone, let's always choose kindness. It always goes a long way. It doesn't matter if that kindness is going to be towards an animal in need. If it's going to be towards another person in need. Let's always choose kindness, because all of the good things in life will blossom from there. Let us always remember again that we're not the only living creatures in this world. We share it with these living beings who have the same right to live in this world as we do. Again, we're just borders here.
Mhm.
So let's continue to do our best to reach out to our fellow creatures, and this advocacy that I have been blessed to be in is just life changing. It's such a blessing, and no matter how exhausting it is, I always say nothing quite like going inside a shelter and seeing all of the dogs happy, running around free and alive when all of them could have been dead right now. The love that these animals have to give is something that you can never put into words. The gratitude that they show is just beyond beautiful. And if only people are able to experience this kind of love, then I think we'll all live in a better world. There's just so much that these animals can teach us. And when you adopt and rescue an animal, you actually don't just save the life of that animal. You don't just rescue that animal. In the process, you realize that you also get rescued as well.
Oh,
So many people going through depression and anxiety, people who feel worthless, um, have been changed by animals they took in, because one day they realize there's this living being who looks up to them. There's this living creature who appreciates them and adores them, who looks forward to seeing them every single day. So it gives you that sense of purpose, and it really changes your view of things. So again, yeah, if there's anything that I'd like to tell everyone, just choose kindness, get involved. Let us always put our compassion into action. eh, Remember that there's always something that we can do. You pray for it. If you really want to be able to help more, get involved, pray for it, do something. It doesn't matter if it's something big or something small. It's better than not doing anything at all.
Right. That's very beautiful. I love everything that you said. And some of our viewers might want to help out and make a difference in the lives of our animals. Can you share with our audience where they can find you?
Yeah, so for those who would like to reach out to help, those who would like to adopt, volunteer, donate to us, you can visit the website. It's pawssionproject.org.ph. So all of the vital informations may be found there, are donation details, photos of the dogs and cats for adoption, our shelter locations may be found on the website. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're also on TikTok. And we also have a YouTube channel that we're still trying to grow. There's so many ways to help. I really invite everyone to get involved. Please go visit our shelters. Go see your local pound. Inspire as many people as possible, because again, we cannot do it on our own. We need more people. We need to, get to that point that the government will finally do something about the overwhelming problems on animal welfare. Um, Let us always just do our part. Again, let's just do something about it. If it doesn't work out, then let's move on to the next. At least we tried, right? Again, it's overwhelming. Remember that when you get into this advocacy and when you really want to get involved, it takes a lot of courage, and you really have to just remember that nothing goes in vain. Everything that we do for the greater good will always have you know a greater reward in heaven. So yeah, I really just would like to invite everyone to get involved, be a part of Pawssion Project. If you're far from Pawssion Project, there's still so many shelters in need of help. There are also a lot of pounds that are in need of help. So help out and get involved.
All right. Okay. Everyone, I'll be putting up the links in our page so you can reach out to them, Pawssion Project Foundation. And I hope this show has provided meaning for you. And I wish you so much love. And I also wish a lovely life and a happy life with your pets. And so thank you so much, Miss Malou, for being part of this. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. So bye for now, and see you around for updates and some future events. All right, thank you, Miss Malou.
Thank you.
All right, bye for now.